Today we're doing the first oil change on this 2026 Toyota Tundra 1794 edition. This is the gas engine, the gas turbo non-hybrid. And the main point of this test is to see at this 4,000 mile mark, what are the contaminants that are inside of this oil, and should you be doing a break-in oil change. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure your engine is either warm or hot. And then you're going to want to shut the truck off and pull the stock back and up and hold it for 2 seconds, basically like spraying your mister as well as pulling back and up. And that should lower your front air dam if you have one, so that you can gain access to the oil change area's cover. So right under the front of the truck, there's a 12 there, a 12 there, a 12 there, and a 12 there, right behind your active air dam that you just put down. That's what the removed cover looks like for 12 millimeters. Notice we're starting out with a pristine oil pan because we're going to do some testing to see what kind of sludge is in there. So this is pristine, as you can see. So whatever comes out of here is coming out of the engine. You're going to want to access the oil's 14 millimeter drain plug from the passenger side of the truck. It's right there. You see this pan. You shouldn't be able to miss it. It is set recess so it couldn't get hit. It's not a very big pan. So we got our perfectly clean oil drain, and we'll drain this hot oil out. Be careful. There is a gasket on the back of this drain plug as well. This is our standard oil drain plug with its standard 14 millimeter gasket crust washer. Let me show you how I drain the oil. Do you see how I set the pan on top of a booster, basically, because oil tends to splash when it goes a great distance. So instead of having it close to the ground, I boosted it up. It'll be easier to slide out and we won't have a mess. All right, we're now going to go for our oil filter. If you were curious, the drain plug is 27 to 30 foot-pounds is the torque spec for that on the oil 14 millimeter drain plug. Now, all right, so we're under the truck. There's our active air dam right there. And there's our oil filter right there. Okay, so you won't need an extension. You just take your ratchet and your claw tool and yeah, just put it on there and loosen it up by hand. Then you can move over to the side, get your funnel lined up, and unscrew it the rest of the way by hand. Here's the filter you're going to need. Make sure that when you get this filter off, you take the plastic off, and make sure on the old one this rubber gasket is still on it. Then for this one, take a little bit of oil and rub it around this rim, and then you can screw it on. You want to put it on there hand tight. It'll be tight, but definitely don't apply this with the other tool because it will crush the can. All right, so now we got our oil filter on, and before we replace our bottom cover, we should fill our oil and make sure that we don't have any leaks while we have access to looking at everything. The filter area, I always do that. Let it run for a minute, make sure everything's good. All right, so let's get to filling this with oil. The oil needed is OW20 full synthetic. You see we have our funnel lined up there. I got a step stool here so I don't have to lean on the truck. So 7.7 quarts. It takes an absolute ton of oil. We'll just start with 5 quarts and we'll go from there. All right, oil dipstick, odd location. We got 5 quarts in there, and we're gonna put in our 2.7 more quarts, and we're gonna use the side of the jug to measure accurately. All right, we're gonna let the truck run briefly now that we have our 7.7 quarts in there, and then we're gonna check our oil level. As you can see, this oil stick is about 4 feet long or something. Just be easy when you push it in there, and don't bend it because you could. So slide it in, let it find its way, clean it, and check your oil level. Just make sure everything's right after you let it run for a minute. Then let it run, check for leaks, etc. And you're done with the oil change portion. We can show you how to reset your light too. All right, so we're gonna come in the truck, and using these buttons and this as you're up and down, we're gonna go to vehicle settings that is underneath the gear. See the gear right there? So we're gonna go up a couple times, vehicle settings, and we're gonna hold down the OK button, and it's gonna come up with all this stuff. And oil maintenance. Yes. And that's it. That's how you reset the oil maintenance light. So our last test is we have this extra fine screen, and we also have a filter down below that, and we're going to see if we can capture anything from this oil from a brand new truck and see if there's any particles big enough to see inside of this oil. So I've poured all of the oil through there, and according to this, I did 5 quarts already. I mean, a couple of those things are like a fly, but there's not much in there, maybe a little tiny bit of dirt. But I've done other ones and there's been way worse. I'm actually surprised. Let's look in the pan just to see what didn't go. I do feel like I see one metal speck there, which would be pretty normal. Honestly, I've done a Ford